It appears WWE has made a major change for WrestleMania 41 in comparison to their other PLEs. Also, a huge update on a long-awaited NXT debut. Finally got some ideas and some time frames, and really excited about that. Plus, a WWE superstar has backstage heat. We're going to talk about it right here on the Ango Show. Alrighty, guys, I think we should start off with Charlotte Flair because it appears that she got most of the heat between her and Tiffany Stratton. Well, according to Fightful Select, the general feeling among WWE talent and staff backstage was that Charlotte Flair was the one who went off script first. Her Nepo Queen line wasn't cleared, but it didn't stir up that much heat either. Things then took a turn, though, when Flair started mocking Stratton's voice mid-segment. That's when people felt like backstage, their belief was that Stratton needed to fight back, but insiders admit her response may have crossed the line. Now, obviously, you guys saw Tiffany Stratton make the punch line. She landed the punch of Charlotte being 0-3 in regards to her marriages. That obviously was not approved. And then I think it's pretty obvious the whole line about why is Kaiser in my DMs, that also wasn't approved. Basically, none of this was in the original script. Now, we all knew that they went off script, but most of the heat has actually gone towards Charlotte Flair because she was the veteran. She's the one who should be, in a way, carrying the segment and being able to prop Tiffany Stratton up, not simply derailing her. And you could tell when you watched that promo segment on SmackDown last week, Charlotte and Tiffany, they had a very, very hot crowd in Chicago. You could tell Charlotte was very, very demoralized during her promo. None of this stuff was approved, and WWE obviously had to clean it up for social media and the references and stuff like that. They've made those edits, so you can't even see the original segment the way that it aired. Backstage, the entire reaction was that this was a wreck. There was heat on both people, but Charlotte, being the veteran, was kind of the thing where, like, yeah, that's kind of unacceptable. Quite frankly, they're both at fault. Quite frankly, them going off script got me even more excited for this match. So I know some people may not tend to agree with that, but sometimes it just works out for the better. And this is one of those scenarios where I feel like it genuinely worked out for the better. I think Tiffany and Charlotte now have a match that is worth watching. The whole thing of Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble really wasn't that exciting. It was the opposite. So I do think this was a good move, despite the fact that there is a little bit of backstage heat on them. We'll see what happens, right?
Now would be the best time to remind you that we have a major goal to hit 100,000 subscribers. Over 40% of the viewers who watch this channel are not subscribed. Please click subscribe if you enjoy staying educated on everything with wrestling news.
All right, and that brings us to our next topic. WWE, Hikuleo, what is going on? Well, finally, we got some news. WrestleVotes is talking about this publicly, and first I just want to make this very clear. Hikuleo has been signed to the WWE for a long time. We have not seen him on TV. A lot of people actually thought that he was coming into the Bloodline storyline with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. However, that was never really the case. We talked about him being in the Performance Center many, many months ago and being, planned for NXT, but there was no updates on that. Now WrestleVotes has come out and says Hikuleo is showing up on NXT in May or June. When he does, expect a big push. WWE likes this guy. He's big, he's tall, he knows what he's doing, and he's got a strong family background. I expect a big push when he comes up. Wow. This is huge. He's obviously been listed on the internal roster for a very long time. WWE has not utilized him. Now, if you watched his work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, you might know that Hikuleo is relatively good, but he's got the look. He's got the size, the height, He's got an interesting look that makes him more of like a powerhouse, big security guard kind of guy. And WWE, interestingly enough, have had him this entire time and have never even indicated that they've had him. And what I mean by that is they have not aired any vignettes. They have not aired any sort of promotional marketing or anything like that. No content regarding Hikuleo. And it was kind of weird and concerning. But the fact that he could be showing up in NXT in May or June is phenomenal. You look at the NXT program, and right now the big issue is how can you create more and more compelling stories for the World Championship? Ethan Page did such a great job as a world champion. But then you got to look at the situation with Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and Obafemi. It's a great storyline, but before that, it was a little bit of a struggle for Obafemi defending the belt. And in addition to that, it's a little bit of a struggle even after the fact because they haven't necessarily been positioning guys to be a main event level talent. And Obafemi is such a large dude, and the way they've booked him has been so unique and so unbeatable that if he walks out of Stand and Deliver with the belt, he will need a new opponent that could bring something out of him. And truth be told, if WWE is really high on Hikuleo, he could be the guy to dethrone Obafemi. I don't know. We'll see. It's a very, very strange situation. He wasn't the greatest wrestler in New Japan, but he was a little bit greener. But the problem with that is, he didn't really have that much of a training compared to the level of training you get in NXT. So he has been spending all this time training, which is a good thing. By the time he's out, I think that we're going to see a very, very improved version of him, which will be very unique and very helpful. And that brings us to WrestleMania. Guys, WWE is making a major change to WrestleMania this year. And shout out to WrestleVotes for really knocking this out because WWE is changing the way they do WrestleMania in comparison to their other PLEs, which, as you guys know, WWE has been doing 4 or 5 matches on their PLEs. Now WrestleVotes is reporting on Sportskeeda Backstage Pass Q&A that there is about 14 or 15 matches that will take place between night 1 and night 2, which is interesting because WWE has many more matches to announce. So I think we're going to actually see more, I don't know if this means we're going to get Chelsea Green. I don't know if this means we're going to get Lyra Valkyria. Obviously, we have to keep paying attention to what WWE builds. But right now they have Cody and Cena, Gunther and Jey Uso, Io, Bianca and Rhea, Tiffany and Charlotte, LA Knight and Fatu, AJ Styles and Logan Paul, Jade Cargill and Naomi, Tag Team Championship match for the women's division, IC title, Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano. So that's 10 matches right there. That means we're expecting at least 4 or 5 more matches, which is unique. I think that's a really good thing for WWE. I think you need to have more matches on this WrestleMania card. You are selling tickets at a very absurd price. 5 matches would not be fair to your consumers who are spending this kind of money, especially when you see all of these packages being so damn expensive. So to me, I support this. And I think that's what makes WrestleMania the grand event of them all. You should have more matches between night 1 and night 2. 6 or 7 matches a night is completely fine. And then when you get back to your regular PLEs, you go back to your 5-match format. And from there, you choose your 5 best stories and 5 best potential matches. And that's how you go about that. So this is a welcome change. I'm glad WWE is doing this because there was a little bit of a worry that they were not going to announce any more matches, but this now means we can expect more announcements. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on The Ango Show.